Hello and good evening, YouTube family and friends. How is everybody tonight? I hope everyone's doing well. I'm doing pretty good. Um, I hope everybody's doing real good. We have Watts Wednesday. Now, I don't know what time y'all are going to see this, but the time I made it, it's Wednesday. Okay, so fasten your seatbelts because we're going to talk about Chris Watts. Of course, it's Watts Wednesday. We're also going to talk about Nicole Kessinger and a few other things. Now, recently I've been bringing attention a channel called Behind the Crime. And I have questioned their validity. I don't trust their validity. I've said so. Although I have mentioned also that I feel like they're doing better. They're trying to get their shit straight. So that's important. But anyway, the name of that channel is Behind the Crime. That's the one I question. There's another channel with a similar name, so let's not get them confused. The other channel is Behind Criminal Minds. That's a good channel. That's a very good channel. So there's Behind the Crime, not so good, kind of shady. And then there's a really good channel, Behind Criminal Minds. He does a very, very, very good job. Let me readjust. So I take camera with me while I readjust. All right, so here we are. So anyway, there's the two channels. The reason why I'm mentioning this, excuse me, is because, like I said, I've been talking about Behind the Crime and their channel and their validity. I'm not doing that tonight. We're going to talk about Behind Criminal Minds. They did a fantastic video, like last Wednesday. I saw it last Wednesday. I think that's the day it came out, too. I think it came out... No, it came out Thursday. Because it came out after I did my video. And because my thought was, of course, this came out right after I did one already. So, Behind Criminal Minds, like I said, is a phenomenal channel. Does a phenomenal job every time. And he did a video. I would go check out their thing. I would look at probably their two... I think there's 2 videos out, 1 or 2. I'd go check them out, definitely. They're 2 most recent videos. But one of them, he talks about new evidence against Nicole Kessinger. And he's got all kinds of new evidence that he's talking about. It's not just telling you he has new evidence. He has stuff. But one of the things I wanted to touch on, and I can eventually cover the whole video if that's what we want me to do. I would really rather you guys go watch his video. And then if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and we'll talk about it. But there was one thing in particular I wanted to touch on. So Behind Criminal Minds, the good channel, like I said, there's at least 1, maybe 2 videos out that he did like a week ago. Where he's got evidence, new evidence about Nicole Kessinger and her involvement. But he also talks about our friend Dylan Tallman. Now, most content creators that cover this topic, for whatever reason, they don't talk about Dylan Tallman very much. And the few times he's mentioned, they don't seem to give him any credit. And I have repeatedly said, I think Dylan Tallman's books are the closest we're ever going to get to the truth. Because Chris isn't going to tell the truth. We know that. Chris is not going to tell the truth. Chris wouldn't know the truth if it jumped up and slapped him in the face. Chris is not going to tell the truth. I mean, he does a little bit. Like, he tells a lie and then he sprinkles some truth in with it to make the lie sound more valid. But Chris, for the most part, wouldn't know the truth if it slapped him. You know, if it bit him in the butt. Chris doesn't know the truth. So Chris is not going to tell us the truth. And I have said in so many different videos, if you want to know what happened that night, read Dylan Tallman's books. Now, I don't know Dylan Tallman. I've never talked to him. I have talked to his fiance or girlfriend very briefly Only in chats, not on a personal level at all. I don't know anything about Dylan Tallman, but there's something about his books that to me screams truth, okay? So keep that in mind when I'm talking about this. And I've talked about his books, and so many of the content creators out there don't seem to give him any they don't seem to pay any mind to him. Like, this and that and the other. They don't seem to give him any. They're just like, oh, he's just a, he doesn't. He's just scamming us. He's just writing books to make money. Well, excuse me, but that's why you write books. If they're educational books, you write them to teach, but you also tend to make money off them. So, excuse me, that is a thing. And I don't know why people tend to blow him off the way they do. I don't know if they blow him off because he's a criminal. But there's really good YouTube creators out there right now. I can think of 3 right now, top of my head, great channels. People don't blow them off. People give them their credit. I think he deserves a little credit. Christina Randall used to be in the prison system. J.D. DeLay used to be in the prison system, and Real Killers, R-E-E-L, Real Killers used to be in the prison system. And all 3 of these people that I've mentioned are excellent content creators. They deserve they've earned, they paid their due, and they've earned it, they've done it. So, with that being said, to blow Dylan Tallman off because he's in the prison system, it's not necessarily fair. Now, do I know for a fact that is why people tend to blow him off? No. It's just my opinion. I'm speculating. I'm trying to figure out why nobody wants to give him his credit due. I'm trying to figure out why everybody keeps ignoring him. There's only been very few people that have given Dylan Tallman his due credit. And I have always said, and I've always believed, if you want to get to the truth about what happened, Dylan Tallman probably has answers. And I apparently am not the only one that feels this way. The man that does the channel behind Criminal Minds used to be a lawyer, if I remember right. And he does his research. And he's very thorough. He's very good at what he does. And he's mentioned Dylan Tallman's books a time or two. So he feels there's something credible. Just like I do. I don't know Dylan Tallman. I've never met the kid. Don't know anything about him other than the fact that he had a cell next to Chris's. He's trying to make money off selling books. You know why? Because he's in the system. And when you get out of the system, it's hard to find a traditional job that pays well. That's why some people, some ex-cons or whatever, people that have been in the system, that's why they turn to, in a lot of cases, social media when they get out, because they can make money at it. I mean, let's be honest. Let's sit down and be realistic adults about this. It would be lovely to say that these people write these books or do their channels or whatever just for the benefit. I have over 500 subscribers, not much over, but I have a little bit over. I could be making money off my channel, and I haven't even turned in the paperwork to do that yet, so I'm still not being monetized. I am pretty much doing this just for my time. I have enough people to make a little bit of money, but I don't. At this point, I've still chosen not to. At this point, I haven't filled out the necessary YouTube paperwork to be monetized. Okay? I might eventually someday, I might even come up with merch. I've even thought about doing some sort of merch. But a 519 or 520 or whatever it is, I ain't even worried about it. That's technically enough, but I ain't worried about it. There are creators out there so much better than I am. And someday I'm going to sit down with time while we're talking. One of the things I've been saying is I need a new laptop. I found one I can actually afford, and that's just a matter of putting the money back for it. Probably be a couple months before I can afford to get it. But once I have it, I can start learning how to do the editing software and all that. And I might be able to come up with better videos. But for right now, this is what I've got using my phone. Anyway, back to my point before I went astray. Christina Randall, J.D. DeLay, and Real Killers is 3 channels I can think of that are excellent channels. They do a very good job at what they do. And they all have been in prison. That's it. They've all done time. So, I don't know for an absolute fact that people are blowing off Dylan Tallman because, he's some punk kid. He might be. I don't know. That might not be the reason why he's getting blown up, but I have noticed that for the most part, content creators just kind of avoid his book. There are some that won't even talk about his book. I'm not in the mood to throw people on the bus tonight, so we're not going to do that tonight, although it may come up again. However, like I was saying, Behind Criminal Minds has mentioned Dylan Tallman a few times. Because I think he has the same hunch that I do. That there's some truth there. That this Dylan Tallman knows shit. You know what I mean? Like, this Dylan Tallman knows shit. There's some truth there. I think there's some truth there. And I think this guy that runs that channel knows that there's some truth there. So, anyway, watching this video that I watched last week, he talked about the fact that he interviewed Dylan Tallman. He had a nice interview with him, and he talked a little bit about what he discovered in the interview. So let me touch on that, because that's where I was going with this whole thing. If you want to see his whole video, I suggest go watching it. It's a great video. He does have a lot of receipts on Nicole Kessinger. He sure does. Proof that she was more involved than she, of course, is willing to admit. But let's go back to Dylan Tallman for a minute. So he had an interview with Dylan Tallman. And if you remember right, if everybody remembers right, you know about this case, you remember right, the police and everybody's been like, we know they talked on something other than Facebook or text messages. We know they had another way to talk. We know they did. But nobody's found proof of it. Dylan Tallman told the guy from Behind Criminal Minds what they used. Where all their conversations were at. The WhatsApp. Now, I don't have that app. I've never used it. So when I found out the WhatsApp was how they did their exchanges, made me curious. I thought, well, the WhatsApp, there would be proof of their conversations if that's what they used. And then I got to thinking, and I thought, well, now I'm not familiar with WhatsApp, but I am familiar with Snapchat. And Snapchat has an auto-delete feature. Unless you save something in chat, conversations, I think, are deleted after 24 hours. So I did a little bit of research. I thought, is WhatsApp like that? Does WhatsApp have an auto-delete the same way Snapchat does? Snapchat has an auto-delete. Anything you say 24 hours later is gone, right? So I did some research on that today. I was curious about that because I don't know anything about the WhatsApp. Now, I'm probably getting ready to tell everybody stuff they already knew, okay? This is stuff I learned today. This is something I learned today. I didn't know anything about the WhatsApp because I don't use it. I don't use it. I use Snapchat, but I don't use the WhatsApp. And I know, like I said, Snapchat has an auto-delete. I don't know anything about WhatsApp. So I did some research. No, WhatsApp does not have auto-delete, but I'll tell you what it does have. It has 2 functions that help. would help Chris and Nicole. First function, number one, is it has a delete for all. So let's say Nicole Kessinger and Chris Watts are talking on WhatsApp, and they get done talking. Nicole Kessinger, from her end, can hit delete all, and it deletes the conversation from both phones. Because Chris isn't very damn smart. I'm not saying that Nicole's a genius, because she's not. But she seemed to be more handy with, technical stuff like phones and apps and stuff. If you remember right, she had to teach him how to use a counting macros app or some shit, I don't know. I mean, Chris Watts is just not very bright. And again, I'm not saying Nicole Kessinger is either, and she's not. But she's smarter than he is, I think. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially on some stuff. So like I said, if they're using the WhatsApp, like maybe she told him to. Because that's what Dylan told Behind Criminal Minds. They used WhatsApp. So like I said, maybe do some research on that app. So like I said, the first thing it does is it has a delete all. Meaning, again, as I just said, if Nicole and Chris are talking back and forth, and they end their conversation, she can hit the delete all button, and it deletes the conversation from both phones. The other thing it has is end-to-end encryption. That's what makes it special. And that's what makes the WhatsApp so special. Is that end-to-end encryption. That means, in a basic dumb woman summary, that while it's not impossible to get information, like it's not impossible for the police to go into the cloud or wherever and retrieve the information, makes it damn hard. So while police did have her phone, and police had his phone, if she told him to delete the app, and she deleted the app, like let's say she deleted all conversations from both sides, and then she deleted the app and he deleted the app, they can have the phones all they want. They can have the phones all they want. If they aren't looking for the WhatsApp, they're not going to know to go into the cloud and get the information. So if Dylan Tallman is telling the truth, and I have no reason to think that he's not, and if they were using the WhatsApp, that's why people don't know anything about it. That's it right there. That's it. All the information, all the proof they need is in that WhatsApp. If it hasn't been overwritten, it is still possible to get it out of the cloud. If he's telling the truth, and I think he is, because I've said that before. If he's telling the truth, and if they did use the WhatsApp, and if she's obviously more capable of using things like that than he is, and you're following my bouncing ball here. If all that is a fact, if all that is a thing, and all that is done, all the information, all the proof the police would need, probably to hang her, it's probably in that WhatsApp. Yep. That's basically what Dylan Tallman told the guy, and I can't remember his name, who has the channel Behind Criminal Minds, in an interview. WhatsApp is where they did their communicating. People have been wondering about where they did their communicating for the longest time. Now we know. Or we think we know. Allegedly, they used WhatsApp. With a delete all function or feature and end-to-end encryption. Makes it really hard to find the information. Not impossible. It can still be done. but difficult. So that's where our answers lie. In the cloud, in the WhatsApp. It's been sitting there for years. It's probably gone by now. And that sucks. That sucks. Everything that we need to hang her is probably in the cloud from that WhatsApp that they were using, if in fact they were using it. Yep. That's all I have for you on this one. I just thought that was a really interesting case to make. I thought, okay, so Snapchat has an auto delete feature. WhatsApp does that. No. You have to do it, but you can do a delete all, and it deletes both sides of the conversation. And it's encrypted, so. That's it. That's all I got for you tonight. I thought you might find that interesting. So do yourselves a favor. Go to Behind Criminal Minds. Go to his channel. Go watch his most recent video, or I think there might be two. But definitely the most recent video. I think it was up like a week ago. Go watch it. Go look at the evidence about Nicole Kessinger. Go look at his receipts. And listen to him tell you about Dylan Tallman's interview. And what a piece of shit D.A. Rourke was. Jesus. Wow. You know, we could have actually just hung her out to dry right along with him. But no. D.A. Rourke wouldn't do it. For whatever reason, D.A. Rourke wouldn't do it. So yeah, go to his channel. Watch the video. Talk to me about it in the comments. Talk to each other about it in the comments. And I love y'all. And if I've missed your birthday, happy birthday. If I've missed your anniversary, happy anniversary. And if I missed anything important going on in your life, let me know. I've been kind of trying to reconnect with people. You know, if you feel comfortable talking to me, I'll talk to you. Make good choices. Look out for each other. Take good care of each other. It's a scary world. Let's look out. We gotta take care of ourselves and each other. So I'm gonna let y'all go, and I love y'all. And like, share, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff. Pass it along to other people. Spread the word. And go check out Behind Criminal Minds. Do yourself a favor. Go check it out. Anything you watch by him is going to be great. Anything. Any of it. But really, the most recent video, you'll learn a lot more about Nicole Kessinger. I would strongly suggest you go there. Anyway, y'all have a beautiful and blessed night, and I hope to see y'all on Friday. Who knows what I'm going to do. All right. I'm out.